welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have here an incredible team from Los Angeles Tourism. I'd like to get started with Adam Burke, President and CEO, Los Angeles Tourism Convention Board. We have Don Skia. Good morning, Adam. CML, Los Angeles Tourism Convention Board, and Tina O, Deputy Executive Director of City Tourism Department. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Canada.
Thank you. We are so excited to be back.
Thank you. Well, I'm going to get started here with Adam. Adam, what is Los Angeles Tourism doing here in Canada? Tell me, why are you here?
Well, the first answer is celebrating. It's been a long 2 years for everyone. This is actually our first official mission, and it's totally fitting that it would be here in Canada. Canada for years has been one of the top markets for travel to Los Angeles. I'll also say for me, it's a bit of a source of personal passion. My family's actually from Montreal, but I spent virtually every summer growing up playing hockey in Ontario. So I was in Oshawa and Orillia and Guelph and Toronto proper. So
there's some Canadian roots there.
They run deep. So I spent almost every summer up here, and our daughter's actually going to be attending the just renamed Toronto Metropolitan University in the fall. So
yes.
I was very excited to get back to Toronto. Beyond that, part of the reason is there's this amazing affinity between Angelenos and Toronto. If you look at our communities, there is so much we have in common. I think the thing you have to start with is diversity. Mm-hmm. LA and Toronto are regularly recognized as two of the most diverse and inclusive communities in the world. Mm-hmm. Angelenos come from over 140 different countries, speak over 220 different languages, very similar to the feeling of Toronto, and that infuses every aspect of our communities. Beyond that, we have this incredible shared love of arts and culture, certainly culinary. Toronto's such an amazing food city, similar to LA. Mm-hmm. And beyond that, we are absolutely fanatical about our sports teams. So, thrilled that as of today, I know the Leafs already clinched a playoff spot. The Kings are now officially in the postseason. But I think the best way I can put it is we're here because we will not see full economic recovery in LA without our valued guests from Canada. If you go back to 2019, over 775,000 Canadians visited LA and contributed over $410 million to our local business community. Mm-hmm. That's astonishing. That's almost $500 million of economic output. Mm-hmm. We will not see full recovery without being able to welcome back our Canadian visitors.
Well, I was just going to ask you why you selected Canada for its first international mission, and this all makes sense. Everything is coming together. You had an event last night, correct? Yeah, and how did that go?
It was wonderful. I mean, I think part of it is, Zoom has certainly served its purpose, but there's no substitute for meeting in person. I think that's why people are so anxious to get back on the road and travel again. Mm-hmm. And so we hosted over 60 members of the travel trade, media, our travel partners. And it was the first opportunity we'd had in over 2 years to sit down together, break bread, have a drink, and just talk about what's happening in LA. And Don's going to touch on this, but one of the amazing things about LA, it's constantly evolving. Mm-hmm. So there are all these incredible new things in LA, even since the pandemic started. Mm-hmm. So there's more reason than ever to come. And that's what we really spent last night talking about, was just reconnecting with our partners and letting them know what are all the incredible new things to do in Los Angeles.
And we're going to get into that a little bit more, like what's new with LA in a little bit. I'm going to go to Don now. Don, do you have any data or insights you can share that speak to the recovery of the Canadian travel market?
Yeah, I sure can. And I think a lot of that stems from the air service recovery. Can people actually get into LAX? And that has recovered to 90% of where it was in 2019. Air Canada is expecting to double the amount of service providing into LAX by the end of this year. So that's great news for us, that people don't need to connect, they can come directly in. Our efforts in Canada actually started in the fourth quarter of 2021. So we started our advertising in Canada in October. That ran through the end of 2021. And as we see the travelers coming in, we read this market, and we have a connection with Toronto, Vancouver, Canada in terms of that target. And it's very much a Gen X millennial target. So as their media consumption habits have changed, so have our media plans. So we ran a lot of online video, native advertising, social media platforms, search engine marketing to get those coveted travelers that we want to get into Los Angeles. So the recovery started about 6 months ago in terms of our advertising. The air service is also back. And then we're here in the market talking to the travel trade so we can provide them with updates on all the new product that has opened up in Los Angeles as well.
Well, speaking of new products and Chalk, I wanted to find out, are there any new experiences that Canadians can expect traveling to Los Angeles, you know, on their next visit? Like, can you touch on that a little bit?
Absolutely. I think LA as a market is, we always say we have this abundance of riches. LA is a market on the move. We are not the nostalgic market. We are the market of the future, and things are opening all the time. I'll give you 3 examples. The first one would be the Academy Museum of Motion Pictures, which opened in the fall of last year. And so that is the largest museum dedicated to filmmaking in North America. They have everything from the ruby slippers from the Wizard of Oz that Dorothy wore to the costume that Cher was infamous for wearing at the Academy Awards. They say it's a 2-hour experience, but I would challenge you, Cristina, to try to get through it in 4 hours. It's just there. It's just a compendium of everything about movie magic. That's one. A second one is we were so fortunate to host the Super Bowl in February, and that was at SoFi Stadium. And that is a stadium unlike no other. And they took, from a technological and architectural standpoint, they really took the proverbial game up and building SoFi Stadium. And we were so honored that our local LA Rams won the Super Bowl this year. But that's something to be seen, where there are tours, Cristina, where you can go actually down in the field and really take in what does it feel like to actually be in a football game, to kick a field goal. So that's really special. And then the third one is a perennial favorite for a lot of tourists is Universal Studios Hollywood. You know, while it's been around since 1964, they are constantly evolving. So the new attraction there is based on the film The Secret Life of Pets. They have a second theater they've just opened based on the movie Kung Fu Panda. And that's a favorite of all of our visitors coming into the market as well. I could go on and on because we are constantly evolving. New restaurants, new hotels, 1,200 or 2,100 new rooms that have come online since the pandemic. But that just gives you a sense of the constant evolution of our brand.
That's incredible. Now, from the city perspective, Tina, you're the Deputy Executive Director. What is the city of Los Angeles doing to support the tourism?
Yeah, so the city of LA really recognizes the impact that visitors have, both economically and culturally. We really know tourism is a powerful force in the growth of our economy, and it creates these really great jobs and produces a lot of revenue for businesses and for the city. So one of the things that the city tourism department did is we completed a tourism master plan. This is a destination management plan, and it really looks at what is the infrastructure that we need to support the many visitors that are coming to Los Angeles and many more that are going to come. So we completed this, and one of the 22 recommendations in the plan was to create a tourism cabinet and designate a chief tourism officer. So we are really excited. So our Mayor Eric Garcetti, put out an executive directive last month that creates both this tourism cabinet and the chief tourism officer. And Dong Liu, our executive director of the city tourism department, was designated and will lead this group. So I'm very excited about that. We just held our first tourism cabinet meeting a couple weeks ago and brought together department heads. And this is really so that the leaders of all the departments in our city think about tourism in their daily work that they do and help us implement the recommendations laid out in this plan and get LA on a great path for sustainable growth.
It sounds like you really have a great plan going there, especially when it comes to sustainability. Now, John touched Tina earlier about the events. the big events in LA. Do you have any specific major events that are coming up for the city of LA that will put a global spotlight on the destination? Like anything that we don't know or we already know? Like, tell us about that.
Yeah, so I know looking back, what Dawn was saying about the Super Bowl is great. Really brought a lot of economic benefits to our region. A very exciting event that is coming up. So this June, the week of June 6th, the LA is hosting the 9th Summit of the Americas. This is the only hemisphere-wide convening of leaders from all the countries of the Americas, including Canada. And this is President Biden's highest priority event for the region. So LA submitted a bid to host this event, and we were informed, I think early this year, that LA had won. It means a lot because this bid, it's chosen by the White House and the State Department. So for them to say that LA is going to be the host city,
it's kind of a big deal.
Very big deal.
That's amazing. Congratulations for that.
Thank you. Yeah, it means a lot that LA is going to be the host city of this really high profile event where we get to bring all the leaders of all these countries, and then the delegates are coming. So it really shows their confidence in our city. So yeah, this is the first time the US has hosted the event since 1994.
I was just going to say, is this the first time something like this has happened? So since 1994, you said?
Yeah, it was in Miami in 1994. So very exciting. There's going to be tons of people from all these countries coming to our great city in June. So we're very excited about that.
And Cristina, if I can just pick up on that, I mean,
please.
You know, we're incredibly fortunate. We're in the middle. I've been in the tourism industry about 30 years, and I've never seen a city have this kind of success. And it's actually goes back to 2017. So 2017, fittingly, we were host to the NHL All-Star Game. Between 2017 and 22, when we host MLB, Major League Baseball's All-Star Game this July, we will have hosted every All-Star Game, with the exception of the Pro Bowl, but we just had the Super Bowl. So, and then if you look forward, you know, Tina mentioned some to the Americas. The way we like to describe it is LA is always red carpet ready, because that's not atypical. Certainly some of the Americas is another order of magnitude, but you look almost every year over the balance of the decade, we have at least 2 or 3 major sporting and entertainment events. So if you look at next year, we're going to have the College Football Playoff National Championship game. We'll have the UF Men's Open for golf out at LA Country Club. We'll have WrestleMania. In 2024, we're going to be hosting IPW, which is the travel industry's largest global trade show. You know, we're going to have the NCAA Men's West Regional Basketball Tournament. We're also a potential host site for the FIFA World Cup in 26. And we know we're hosting the Olympic and Paralympic Games in 28. So it's this incredible, unprecedented decade of sports in LA.
And we're
talk about evolving.
College football championships.
Oh my goodness.
So it's loaded. The calendar is absolutely loaded.
Well, it seems like the pandemic didn't really hit Los Angeles. You're always, like you said, you know, no matter what happens, you know, it's a resilient city. Anything that hits you, it looks like you're continuing to grow each time, and city's thriving. Congratulations on all these achievements. But tell me what it's like right now. Obviously, we're still not out of the woods yet. We're still in the pandemic. You know, you have all these events happening. Tell us the vibe there right now. You were talking to me earlier about the event last night, how everyone is so excited to be there and just, you know, finding out about the exciting things happening in LA. Tell us the vibe right now. If I'm a traveler going to LA right now, tell us a little bit about that, Adam.
Well, I think you have to start from the perspective of health and safety. One of the things that is very similar, and I think that Canadians will find very comforting in coming to LA, our county health department, our state health department have been very vigilant and very measured in the way they've approached it, very similar to Canada. So as a result, you know, my belief is you need to lead with health and safety if you're going to have a sustainable reopening of your economy. They have to go hand in hand. So what you're going to see is, first of all, I always recommend that people go to our website, discoverlosangeles.com, because you want to know ahead of time what each of our venues have in place, because there are some venues who, for example, are still requiring proof of full vaccination.
Mhm.
A great example is the Music Center. What a lot of people may not
Mhm.
know is LA actually has more museums and performing arts venues than any city in the country. So
Mhm.
what they've chosen to do to make sure that they can keep both the audience, but also the performers safe and healthy, is that they're still requiring proof of vaccination and that audiences are
Mhm.
masked when they see a performance.
Right.
So, what I think Canadians will see, particularly with the restrictions just being lifted, it'll be a very comfortable and very comforting experience, because you'll see that we're still taking health and safety very seriously, but at the same time, we worked on all of those protocols in partnership with the LA County Health Team. So it's
Mhm.
also still a great experience. People can come.
Mhm.
We've been open since June 15th of last
Mhm.
year,
Mhm.
whereas Canadians are just now having the restrictions lifted. So we've already gotten back in the rhythm of hosting guests. So it's an incredibly positive vibe. There's so
Mhm.
much energy and enthusiasm. And honestly, as a truly global city, LA is just not the same without international visitors. So we're just thrilled to be rolling out the red carpet for our Canadian guests again.
I love that. You're open and ready to take the
Mhm.
Canadians. That's incredible. And I think, yeah, the health and safety aspect is very important. For me as a traveler, I always check on that. What are the protocols? I want to make sure that when I go to a destination that this is a top priority. So this
Yeah.
is very good that you touched on that. Any final words? I know you're very busy. Thank you so much for joining me. Tina, John, Adam, any final words for our Canadian travelers?
I think I would just add, Christina, that we are, Adam talked about the similarities between Toronto and Los Angeles. And I think that's true also in our approach to vaccination.
Yeah.
We were at a meeting this morning, and a travel operator said that Toronto is number one in
Mm-hmm.
terms of the percentage of people who are fully vaccinated. And he said, we love Los Angeles because I'm quoting him, that we are number 3 or 4 in terms of major cities and our vaccination rate. I think you're over 80%. We're in the high
Mm-hmm.
70s for sure,
Mm-hmm.
5+. So in terms of conveying that sense of safety
Yeah,
to
very
Canadians.
important.
And then I think my final point would be, we love Canada because we know from the Conference Board of Canada that there are $280 billion of savings
Mm,
that have occurred over the last 2 years. And we also know there's a tremendous amount of pent-up demand. So we want Los Angeles to be front and center in terms of a travel destination that is really rolling out the proverbial red carpet
that's
for
incredible.
Canadians to come
Yeah.
home.
And I guess I would just add to that, the other commonality between Angelenos and visitors from Canada, we all love beautiful warm weather and beaches.
Mm,
The
yeah.
difference is we're fortunate enough to have 300 days of LA sunshine.
Oh, you don't need to
And
remind me that, Adam. Thank you
so
so much. It's supposed to be spring and it's -3 here. You know this. Thank
so
you
we,
for reminding me that.
come back and enjoy the 75 miles of LA
Definitely.
coastline.
Oh, that's amazing. I mean, I've always loved LA every time I'm there. So, Tina, any final words for our
Oh,
Canadian travelers?
I'm excited to see the Canadian delegation here in June in LA, and
Yeah.
we hope to see more Canadians. And yeah, come visit our warm and sunny beaches.
The warm and sunny. Can I just like transport to LA right now? My
You can
team
come
is
with
there,
us.
so
You can
oh,
fly back with us. Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
in. I'm in. But thank you so much for your time and sharing everything about LA, the evolving city of LA. It's so great to hear that things are finally opening up and getting back to normal slowly. And thank you for coming to Canada and putting us, on your list as your first destination to launch this first international mission. Congratulations on everything.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Cristina, and congratulations on all of your new endeavors.